Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli back with another review video, and that's right, you read the title. Literally when the 1970s began, the 1970s decade began, I should say. In 1970, there was a Sherlock Holmes film that actually, because it did pretty well, and actually, because, for me, I actually gave this a watch a couple of times before reviewing this, and I quite enjoy this. So that's right, The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes, directed by Billy Wilder, and it's got a great cast, and the story actually is pretty good. The cast, for example, like Robert Stevens as Sherlock Holmes, he was fantastic as Sherlock Holmes, and Colin Blakely. I think I said that right, yeah, as John H. Watson, or as he's better known as Dr. Watson. And this is actually one of the first, pieces of material of Sherlock where we don't get Moriarty. At least I don't think. If the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock films didn't have Moriarty, I mean, it's been a little while since I've seen the first one, and I technically haven't seen the second one yet, but I don't know. But anyways, so the other cast of characters, like Gabrielle is played by Guinevere, I think that's how you say the name, Guinevere Page, and Tamara, Tumanova, I think that's how you say it, plays Madame, I don't know. But there's one part where, there's one thing in the movie where Watson and Sherlock, they get invited to, a Swan Lake performance, orchestra and ballet, and Sherlock gets to meet the main, star of the play, and basically Sherlock is sent out on a mission, solving a case, mystery and such. And Clive Reville, if I'm saying the last name right, he's in this too, and he'd be best known for being the original Emperor Palpatine, the voice of Emperor Palpatine, and he did numerous of other stuff. There's one part where Watson is mistaken for being gay. That's, oh my gosh, yeah, so, and also, I'm trying to remember, Irene Handai, I don't think I'm saying the last name right, who plays Mrs. Hudson, yep, so, the maid, of course, Sherlock's home, and Gabriel, who shows up at Watson's house, Sherlock's house, I should say. Apparently Gabriel is just completely has no memory of, I guess, where she is, and I guess who she is at first, and, her husband is missing, and, all three of them, of course, Sherlock, Watson, and Gabriel, they go out, and I guess try to locate and find, Gabriel's husband, and, at one point, because there's a sequence where they're on a train, there are these, monks, and, also, infamously, one thing that made me discover this movie, and that is, a lost and missing prop in this movie, which being the Loch Ness Monster, apparently, because, the head of the Loch Ness, the prop that was used of the Loch Ness Monster prop, I should say, used for this, at first, started off with the head of the Loch Ness Monster, but it also had it had humps to it. But at one point, it sank in the Lake of Loch Ness, and they went with another prop, it was just the head of the Loch Ness. And the thing is, in the movie, the Loch Ness is the head of the Loch Ness is a disguise for a submarine. And this has to do with it's being a warship and defeating the Germans, and also when they come up to Scotland and Loch Ness, even like, in the movie, like, they see, like, little men, or as it's said in the movie, little midgets, you know. That's what they said in the movie. And I guess it turns out, well, the husband of Gabrielle is dead, and, we even get an appearance of course, Sherlock's brother, Mycroft, although he's in the top cast, but even when I, like, check IMDb and so on, he's in the top cast, even though we don't see him, he's not there in the entire movie. And the first time he appears is when we make it to literally 1 hour into the movie. That's, you know, and Mycroft being played by the late, great, legendary Sir Christopher Lee. Yeah, Christopher Lee as Mycroft, Sherlock's brother, that's freaking awesome. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome having Christopher Lee as Mycroft. And as I recall, like, Christopher Lee, he was in other, like, Sherlock films, and especially alongside with his friend, Peter Cushing. Yeah, and yeah, Peter Cushing, if I recall, yeah, Peter Cushing did play Sherlock a few times. I'll probably get to reviewing those movies eventually. So again, Christopher Lee as Mycroft is pretty cool. And this is, and according to the movie itself, this is the first time we see Christopher Lee with, like half of a bald head, you know, like no toupee or something like that, apparently, you know. Like the top of his head is bald, and you get the idea. But, and also Queen Victoria, who's in this, and played by Molly, Marine. Yeah, and, like, later on, and when, like, the Queen arrives and, you know, meets Mycroft and, you know, meets Sherlock, and this was cool, like, you know, the Queen and others, like, admired, you know, and have read Sherlock's cases and stuff like that. Like, he's well known, of course, to the Queen. And, you know, the Queen sees, you know, the submarine and with the head of the Loch Ness, you know. And as Mycroft said, you know, nearly a decoy, madam. Yeah, that's right, it's a decoy. So, and again, it's disguising the submarine and to fool, you know, I guess the Germans and stuff like that. And I guess, you know, to scare the sharks off. So, and when, of course, it's revealed it's a warship, you know, the Queen is disgusted and just doesn't want to hear anything else about the warship, you know, the submarine. And it's near the end of the film when this happens and when we get the appearance of the Queen. And it turns out, we find out that Gabriel is a German spy, apparently. And even, like, those times where Gabriel's umbrella was being used as, you know, a signal, you know, just do that and it would give signals. And try to remember, like, and Gabriel is being sent back to Germany, I should say. And as she's riding off in a carriage, you know, she gives one last signal to Sherlock, you know, and, you know, Watson asks what the signal is, and Sherlock tells Watson, you know, it's Auf Wiedersehen. So, like, saying goodbye to Sherlock, that was the signal. Even, like, those parts where, like, Watson, like, at first, like, he claims to have seen the Loch Ness Monster, even up to when all three of them, they're out on a boat in the lake, and the Loch Ness comes right at them, like, passes by them, and they see that the Loch Ness goes into a castle, which, of course, we find out, you know, being a submarine, as I explained. The ending to it, the epilogue, like, okay, Sherlock and Watson, they're back in, London at Baker Street, and they receive a letter, and it turns out that Gabriel had died, I don't know, executed or killed? I don't know. Yeah, what a way to end this movie. Like, I forget how it goes, like, well, Sherlock asks Watson for something, you know, a file and such, and of course, Sherlock getting the last lines, he goes into his bedroom, I guess, and Watson just sitting down, I guess he's writing something, probably because what we see in the beginning of the movie, because a time capsule, this time capsule is not to be opened until 50 years pass after Watson's death. Yeah. So, yeah, so again, that was an interesting ending, like, you know, with Watson and Sherlock back in Sherlock's house, and yeah, but overall, I think The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes was actually a pretty good Sherlock film. It's got a good cast. I like the music. I believe the music was done by the same, yeah, like Henry, however you pronounce his last name, the same guy who did the music for the Pink Panther. So, you know. But anyways, and how do I rate The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes? Well, why not? Because I enjoyed this very much, and I watched it a couple of times, you know, and I'm glad that I did, because I think that showed that, hey, I was actually enjoying this movie. I give this a 10 out of 10, and I'm glad that, you know what, this film actually was received pretty well when it came out in 1970. And again, that infamous story that helped me discover this movie again. The Loch Ness Monster prop that sank into the Lake of Loch Ness. And, you know, if it would ever be recovered. That's the thing. But anyway, so thank you for watching. Again, 10 out of 10 for The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. You guys let me know what you think of the film if you've seen it before, what you thought of my review. Leave comments and give this review a like as always. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed my review of The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. More reviews coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video/review. And one more review for the week of January, you know, aside from doing reviews on the weekends. So, well, no, I'm wrong. Two more, I should say. God, my mistake. Okay, so the next review coming up, the second to last, is actually, to hint this, but you may get it, I don't know. It's a, Oscar-winning film where Mel Gibson won for Best Director, and this movie won for Best Picture. You may know what it is. If you don't, then stay tuned for it. Take care, and peace out.